what to say. I just can't say it. You feel it, you think it, but the words never land right. You are not inarticulate. You are untrained. Professionals lose credibility every day, not because they lack knowledge, but because they lack output structure. This is why some people get paid millions to say what you've been struggling to say for free. The world does not pay for what you know, the world pays for what you can communicate. Hello and welcome to today's live session. I am Leslie Grace, the Confidence Coach sent to help busy professionals master 3 LI skills: smart reading, smart thinking, and of course, smart speaking. Today, you're welcome to today's live, and yes, it's a beautiful Saturday evening all the way from here, Nigeria, where I'm streaming from. And today, I want to talk about you, the professional, who is still struggling with saying what they want to say rightly. You think you know it, you arrange those words in your head, but they never ever land. This conversation today is for you. You want to go and tag someone on this conversation, and hey, have you hit the subscribe button? Hit the subscribe button today because you should be on this conversation every day because Mondays to Saturdays we are live, Mondays to Fridays at 1 p.m., 7 p.m., Saturdays we are live to have this conversation. And all throughout August, we've been having the Smart Speaking short break series, and it's been about how you, as a professional, can communicate your thoughts. Now, today we're beginning with why your thoughts collapse under pressure. I've had quite a number of professionals come to me and they say things like, my thoughts were intact, but I think it's because of the pressure. My thoughts just collapsed under pressure. I want to tell you how to deal with that. Mm. When pressure comes, it can be at any time. Boardroom meetings, media interview, maybe to represent. Why am I the one? Why not somebody else? Why should I be the one who will do that presentation? Should I be the one who will do that presentation? But the thing is, whether it is a boardroom meeting, a media interview, impromptu speech, so long as you are there to give a speech, if it is under pressure, there's a reason your thoughts are collapsing. Your brain does not react to that pressure in a certain way. Now, your brain does what athletes call muscle failure. When you are called to give a speech under pressure, you're not ready for that speech. You didn't know, you were not told before time that you were the one who's going to give that speech. And now what happens to you is what athletes would call muscle failure. Now, it's not because the muscle isn't there, but it's because it's not conditioned for that specific moment. So that moment comes, and this is what happens to you. You prepare content, but not delivery. This is what happens to you. You've never practiced speaking without notes. So you are just, the brain is, everything is just as if it's collapsing, everything is coming down. You are thinking of the perfect sentence instead of the right flow. So you're just there. Let me say this, right? Professionals, the tongue will never deliver what the mind did not first organize. The tongue will not deliver what the mind did not first organize. Now, I love to, anytime I'm doing like talking about speech presentations and how professionals have to navigate their speech all the time, I always remember Moses. I want you to know that even for Moses, the great leader, he got to a point where he said, I am slow of speech. And this is the point where so many professionals have gotten to. They're at the point where they just say, you know what, I am slow of speech. I'm struggling with my speech. But like Moses, God gave him structure through Aaron. He got a structure for his speech. He got a system for structuring his speech through Aaron. Now, without structure, the message would not land. Without structure, the message will not land. And even if it came straight from heaven, if there's no structure, the message will not land. So even though Moses got a ministry on the earth, Moses got a message on the earth, Moses got a method for even passing that message because God had told him, okay, this is how you go, this is where you go. With your ministry, your message, and your method, if your speech is not structured, it will not land. This is what you are facing each time that you say things like, you know what, I prepared for that speech, I know what to say, but I lost it. What is happening to you is that your speech is always lacking structure. Have you subscribed to this YouTube channel? You need to subscribe to this YouTube channel now, because tips for you every single week on how to build a structure for smart speaking. You know, at the Smart Speakers Academy, we'll have a structure. A structure is smart reading, smart thinking, smart speaking. And this is what you'll be learning all throughout the month of August. Now, let's look at how to unlock mental clarity in real time. I want to believe that at this point, you've hit the subscribe button because we still have tips for you all the time. How do I unlock mental clarity in real time? Mental clarity is speaking, but mental clarity is a skill. All right? You don't get it by wishing, you get it by training. Here's what I teach professionals when they come for the smart speaking course. I teach them the clarity pyramid. Now, there's a clarity pyramid that you have to use, and it begins with the first thing at the top of that pyramid. So just imagine a pyramid, right? Here's the shape of a pyramid that you can see, right? Mhm. Now, what I teach is at the top of that pyramid is the big idea first. The big idea first. The big idea is one clear sentence that frames everything else. Let me give you an example. It's like how I began this life. If you join me from the beginning, you know that my first sentence was, I know what I want to say, just can't say it. I feel it, I think it, but the words never land. You are not inarticulate, you are untrained. This is how I started the conversation this evening, right? And now this is an example of exactly what your mental clarity in your speech should look like. So you begin with a big idea first. Remember, I told you that if you want to get mental clarity in your speech, mental clarity in speaking, look at the pyramid. So can you picture a pyramid? Your big idea first. Once you start your speech, you want to begin with one clear sentence that frames everything else. That's why I had to go back to give you the example of what I did today on today's live. Number two to three anchors. You want to have short bullet points that keep you on track, such that when you look at your bullet points, you know what you want to talk about all the time. Number three, a story or an analogy. See, busy professionals, listen, your speech must have a structure. And this is learned. Mental clarity in your speech is learned. Structure in your speech is learned. This is why I say leave public speaking to your children. You, as a professional, what you need is smart speaking. And I'm sure that by now you can see why I am talking about smart speaking. Did you see my pyramid I'm painting to you? At the top is your big idea first. The second is two or three anchors, short bullet point that frames everything for you in your speech. And then number three is a story or an analogy, something that makes it relatable, something that brings your whole conversation home. And you know, for the conversation of tonight, for me, I already gave you a story, an analogy with the story of Moses. So even if you you feel like you're not communicating with your audience, just bring an analogy home, bring a story home, bring something they can relate with home, and I tell you, you will be leaving your audience with clarity of understanding. So the beautiful thing about having clarity in speaking is that clarity in speaking will always give your audience clarity of comprehension. So if you're in a meeting tomorrow, for instance, or Monday you resume work and you're in a meeting, and someone says, give us your thoughts, you can answer in under 10 seconds with clarity. With the structure I just gave you now, you can. Clarity is not knowing everything. Clarity is knowing the one thing that matters right now. What is it that matters right now? Now, this is why you see professionals are called to give a speech and they are everywhere but nowhere. Have you listened to such speech before? Somebody is talking and the person just goes, okay, so I now traveled to, okay, since I was coming this morning, okay, then the plumber now said, what we want to hear is, where is the report on yesterday's performance? You went out, there was a performance, let's have a report. But the speaker has gone everywhere but nowhere. That's because there's no clarity. there's no structure in your speech. When there's no structure in your speech, your listeners are logged out mentally. If you've stayed on this live till now, I can tell you that one major reason you're here is because of clarity in my speech. You can literally tell the structure in my speech. You can literally follow through. So, because there's clarity in my speech, you are getting clarity in comprehension. So, it's important that you build that clarity by giving your speech a structure. Your speech must have a structure. Big idea first, 2 to 3 anchors, story or analogy. Whatever it is you want to share, it must come home. We must be able to relate with it. You know, one of the smart speakers that I always admire is Jesus Christ. In the Bible, there were so many analogies that Jesus used to bring message home. He will use parables, he will use stories, he will use analogies, he will use, his speech always had structure. One of the reasons there was always multitude wherever Jesus was not just because of miracle. It was because of clarity in speech, because of structure of speech. Every time he wanted to speak, he began with structure. He met the woman at the well and he began with a big idea. The big idea was, you are having whatever you're having now is temporary. I can give you eternal life. That's what he wanted. But he began with a big idea first. Then he went to 2 or 3 anchors. You could see that there were bullet points. He could relate it. Oh, ma'am, you've been married. The man you're with now is not your own. Like when he now brought the story and analogy home, the woman just knew, you know what? Let me go and call on my village people. I have seen someone who could speak to me. You see, professionals, right? In this generation, what you need most is your voice. Your voice is your superpower into this world. Your speech can no longer be crass and just anyhow, whatever lands, whatever works. No more in today's world. Have you subscribed to this YouTube channel? You should subscribe now. Every day, Mondays to Sundays, every single day, we give you clarity and every information that you need that can move you from smart reading to smart thinking to smart speaking. Thank you for subscribing. All right, now let's talk about the flow system that helps you speak with zero prep. Now, here is my secret. I do not teach people to memorize speeches. No, I teach them to flow. Besides, you're a professional. You are not one primary 3 school child who is memorizing speech for a debate, or a primary 5 valedictorian who's trying to get his speech intact. You are a busy professional. You are busy professionals. You have children calling you here and there. You have clients on your table. You have a lot to deal with. So you cannot memorize speech. But you can have flow. What I teach you is flow. What is flow? Flow means that you can start anywhere, land anywhere, and sound smart everywhere. With flow in your speech, you can start from anywhere. Even though your boss, let's take an example. Your boss was giving a speech, and then it's something that both of you were a part of. Maybe the both of you went to carry out a project, and then you were giving a report, but it wasn't you, it was your boss giving the report. And along the line, the CEO comes in and says, "You know what, Mr. Frederick, see me in my office." Halfway into, beg your pardon, halfway into the meeting, and then Mr. Frederick leaves. And then they say, "Okay, Mrs. Ngozi, you went with Mr. Frederick, right? Can you continue?" You can start from there. When you build flow in your speech, you can start from there. You can land anywhere and you can sound smart everywhere, even though the president is in the meeting. Do you know what I found? A lot of professionals can sound smart before their peers. They can sound smart before familiar situation. But once it's an audience or a group of people that they do not know, then you begin to hear things like, you know what? I'm afraid. You know what? That speech was impromptu. But the other day you were with your girls and you were able to give an impromptu speech. You just stood up and you started telling them about your whole week. You didn't plan it while you were leaving your home. That's an impromptu speech, isn't it? That's an impromptu speech. But just because the situation is unfamiliar, you feel like, no, it's impromptu. I can't do this. Flow in your speech will give you the ability to start anywhere, land anywhere, and sound smart anywhere. It's like Apostle Paul in the Bible. He could preach from a shipwreck. a prison call, a palace throne room, different settings, same authority. Because when you build the smart speaker in you, regardless of where you are, regardless of who you are in front of, you can definitely all the time deliver. Let me give you the flow formula. Number one, frame. I know that at this time you want to hear the flow formula, and I want to give you the flow formula that can always make your speech stand out. Number one is frame. Open with a big idea or question all the time. Number two is feel. Add your points, stories, or statistics. And number three is finish. Land on a memorable takeaway. See, the way you land is key. It's important. This is how to give flow to your speech. Have you hit the subscribe button? Hit the subscribe button right now. Okay, now once you master this, even an unplanned moment becomes your stage. You know, I began with telling you that regardless of where you are, who you are before, at any time you can sound as a smart speaker. Hello, Valentina. Have you hit the subscribe button? Hit the subscribe button. Everyone, hit the subscribe button. Yeah. Oh, thank you. You really enjoy this session. Awesome. Awesome. And I love being here as well. All right. Now, let me be honest with you. If you are trying to reach out to us, just check our bio. You'll be able to see our contact address and we'll be able to have a conversation from there. Let me be honest with you, right? Some of you have already lost opportunities because of this guy. The promotion went to someone who spoke better, not someone who knew better. Think about it for a moment. Every time promotion comes, it comes to the person who sounds better in the office space. Your ideas died in your mouth before you could pitch them sharply. Wasn't that what happened? So your speech is key. This is why you see the smart speaking channel. This is where you should be. Again, hit the subscribe button if you haven't. You felt smart in your head, but sounded uncertain out loud. Every time this happens, a missed moment of articulation in your speech is a missed lifetime of opportunity. If there's one thing you need to learn as a professional, it's how to own your voice, how to give value to yourself by using your voice to show your value, your visibility all the time. A missed moment of articulation is a missed lifetime of opportunity. You know, in Proverbs, it says that death and life are in the power of the tongue. So your tongue can actually give you, land you that promotion or make your ideas not considered. So if your tongue isn't trained, you may unfortunately kill opportunities meant for you. Unintentionally, you may kill opportunities meant for you. This is why I built a smart speaking course for people exactly like you. I built this course for you. You have the expertise. You, the professional that have the expertise, but not the speaking system. You have the passion, but not the certificate. You have the stage, but not the structure. The smart speaking course is for you. You want to check the link in our bio to get access to the smart speaking course. It's going to be a 30-day journey that I'll be walking you through how to think on your feet in any room, even though the president is there. How to communicate in a way that commands attention. That's what I'll be teaching you in the smart speaking course. How to carry yourself so you look and sound like the authority that you already are. This you'll be learning at the smart speaking course. All right? And this course is taking place in September for 30 days. If you know your voice is your ticket to bigger rooms, bigger checks, and bigger influence, then this is your time. You need to take this course. Check the link in our bio to get access to this course. Now, I want you to subscribe to this YouTube channel so you get my daily smart speaking tips. Every single day, I'll be sharing it with you. Follow us on all social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, on Facebook at the Smart Speakers Academy. This August is full. It's full for you. It's a month of immersion into confidence, communication, and commanding rooms. And let me say that your voice is your passport. You see, in today's world, your voice is your passport. Untrained, it keeps you in the waiting room. Trained, it puts you in the boardroom. You need to train your voice. And you start by the smart speaking course this month. Use the link in our bio to get access. This cost is a cost that you shouldn't miss. Your voice in today's world is your passport. Untrained, it keeps you in the waiting room. When you train your voice, it puts you in the boardroom. Do you know that David had a trained voice? He trained his voice so well that David used that trained voice to convince the king that he could face Goliath. That is a trained voice. Do you know that Paul had a trained voice? I mean, Saul turned to Paul. He had a trained voice. His voice was so trained that Paul used that voice to face a situation that Stephen faced as well. They were both faced with stoning to death. But guess what? Stephen used his voice wrongly. His voice was untrained. Paul used his voice rightly, and Paul came out of that situation alive. So, an untrained voice is a risk. A trained voice is your passport. It takes you to the boardroom. When your voice is untrained, it can keep you in the waiting room. Look at the children of Israel. They had an untrained voice. They said to themselves, We are like grasshoppers. We are like grasshoppers. That's what they said. With their own mouth, who told them that they were like grasshoppers? Hello. Oh, hi, Chocolisa. Oh, so good to have you here. Hello, everybody. All right. So an untrained voice, have you hit the subscribe button, by the way? Hit the subscribe button. Everyone, do not miss it. Do not miss it. Every single day, you get tips from us on smart speaking at August. And please register for the smart speaking because you will love it. This is how you train your voice. Same situation happened to Paul and Stephen. But guess what? Stephen had an untrained voice. And so Stephen said, you know what? This situation can just swallow him. And the situation swallowed him. But Paul had a trained voice. Remember that the kind of education that Paul had, right? I'm sure that his speech was also trained. His speech was seasoned. Do you know what the Bible says? It said, let your speech be seasoned with salt. Let your speech be seasoned. Too many professionals are carrying their voices untrained, unseasoned. You need a training for your voice. Otherwise, you use it the wrong way. Stephen used it the wrong way and it took his life. You do not want to risk using the wrong voice because it can take all that it is that you need to have from you. People's voices, I've heard professionals tell me, you know what? When I left that interview room, I knew I wouldn't make it because the way I was speaking, I knew that I wouldn't be called. So at the end of the day, as professionals, we know that our voices matter. We know that our voices will take us to where we want to go to or not take us there. So you need to train it. You need to get to the space where you're actually training your voice. And the smart speaking course is your training ground. This is where your voice is given the passport that it needs to put you in the boardroom. Do you know that? Including the hairstylist that make your hair. If you make your hair and you can relate to what I'm saying, right? You will understand that, especially for females. Now, females can relate to that. Okay, even if you're a male and you cut your hair, part of the reason you chose your hairstylist is what? The way they speak. Please put it for me in the comment section. The way they speak. The way they speak is the reason. Sometimes they may not be as good as, but I've had a professional say to me, you know what? I just love going to this particular restaurant. The way the attendants speak. I was somewhere earlier today, and the way the guy spoke, I did not have any reason to get what I got. But the speech was seasoned with salt. And I just said, you know what? I think I want to have this business. If you're in the marketing system, this is also another thing for you. Your speech needs to be seasoned. And whether you are directly into marketing or not, if you are a human, you are into buying and selling, whether you are the one buying or you are the one selling, you need your speech to be seasoned because negotiation is a factor of your voice. How you train your voice determines how you bargain. There's some of us that have bought products that we got to where we got to, we bought items that when we got to our homes, we regretted ever buying those things. Do you know why you regretted? Because you couldn't talk. Even at the point of the negotiation, you knew that this deal isn't good, but you couldn't talk. You couldn't speak up to say this was not good. Do you remember the slave girl who saved her master? That girl saved her master. And each time we read that story, right? I hope you've also sat down. Part of what I've done is also to ask myself, what would have been the benefit that girl would have earned after the king came back, after Naaman came back whole. Can you just pause and imagine what would have been the benefit of that little slave girl? And I also beg you to also think about the training that girl got, the training of her speech to speak up and say, you know what, my king, you can be healed. It takes a training. There's something that girl knows about speaking. That's a smart speaker. You have been in your office space. Your boss walks into the boardroom and you cannot speak. And you're even saying it. You're saying that, oh no, it's because the boss walked in. Hello, a slave girl walked to the king in a time when slaves have no business speaking with the king. She went there to go and take a risk to go. No, you are being told to give a report on a business deal that you landed. This girl had no business coming to meet the king or coming to even make a decision for the king or offer something to the king. She had no place there. But she took the risk to say, I think that you can be healed. That was a huge risk because there was no 100% guarantee that the king was going to be healed. What if the king did not make it? What if the king got drowned? What if the king did not get healed? That girl could have been killed. But you know what smart speaking does for you? Smart speaking gives you three major things: confidence, communication, and power to command any room. So there's no fear. Like this slave girl, there was no fear. She was not afraid. And even if she had, she was able to still speak afraid. She was able to still try afraid. She was able to sit tell herself, you know what? I am going to say this anyway. Dear King, you can be healed. So I'm speaking to you, dear professional. If a little slave girl could speak because she had a trained voice, you should stop shivering before your bosses. And you're saying things like, Coach, you won't get it. It was an impromptu speech. That's why. Which is harder? To risk your life to make a suggestion on, on your boss's health or to speak before your bosses? That was a huge risk. And there are many examples here and there of people who you could see. And one of the examples I love, love, love is David's example. I keep asking myself, what audacity had David? But these are trained voices. And you know the truth, right? Not everybody gets that training. Do you know how I know? David's brothers did not get this training. They didn't have trained voices. They didn't have trained voice. So they didn't know that, okay, let me train my voice. So when it was time to bring Goliath's head down, okay. Please hit the subscribe button. I can see the comment section. Thank you for the compliments. Please hit the subscribe button. Thank you. All right. So I had to pause there too. Okay. Yes, let's continue. So David knew the importance of training his voice. And David got his voice trained. And guess what? Because David had a trained voice, when the opportunity came to bring down Goliath, see, listen, it was not the stones that brought Goliath's head down. No, it was not. It was not. It was it was the words. It was a speech that brought Goliath down. Because in his smart speaking were three components: confidence, communication, power to command the word. David had these three. So the power to bring down Goliath's head was largely tied to the fact that David had this factor. So including the challenge that you think you're facing at your workspace, a trained voice is your gift. A trained voice is your gift. And today I've given you the flow system, I've given you systems for how to speak better, but you get the bigger picture in the smart speaking course. So you want to actually register for this course. It's simple. Just use the link in our bio to get access to the smart speaking course, and you will love, love, love to be there. In that class, we're giving you books, we're giving you guides, we're giving you checklists, we're giving you everything and more that you need. You're going to be having a Q&A session with me directly, and we'll have live classes with me, Q&A sessions with me, so that way you can move away from the place where you have fear for speech. I've had clients come and they tell me, you know what, I'm afraid of speaking. Coach, you do not understand. I've not, I mean, I had a client who told me, I've never done a voice note before because I hate the sound of my voice. And when we finished the smart speaking course, she said, ah, Coach, you've just liberated me. I had another client, a professional, who was doing well with her business. She had this big business she was doing, but her business was struggling because she couldn't do the marketing herself. So her clients, her staff, her team members have been telling her, let us do videos. And she didn't want to do because she just felt I wasn't good with the camera. She lacked camera confidence. Oh, by the way, camera confidence is one of the core modules of the smart speaking course. Because in today's generation, there is no conversation on speech training without camera confidence. There is no confidence building for professionals without camera confidence. So one of the things you'll be learning at the smart speaking course is camera confidence. And this is something that you shouldn't miss. Use the link in our bio or just send a WhatsApp chat to the number on our profile and you'll be able to get access to the smart speaking course. And I'll see you in class. Thank you so much for joining in today. Mondays to Fridays at 1 p.m. We're here every day live to have this conversation with you. And on Saturdays at 7 p.m. We're here. Thank you so much for joining this live. I'll see you on Monday at 1 p.m. Have you subscribed? Hit the subscribe button. I'll see you on Monday at 1 p.m. This is the Smart World.